Fifth straight loss for the Philadelphia 76ers as the tank is on. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers
Ain't no question mark on that bad boy
show.
after that game.
After the Philadelphia 76ers fall to the Indiana Pacers by a final score of 115-102 on a Saturday night. And guess what, folks? They get to play the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow in Milwaukee for some Sunday night hoops after the Philadelphia Eagles handle their business
Not
at
me,
home.
though.
Again, welcome to the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Derek Bodner, Kyle Newbeck, Devon Givens, Brianna here producing the show. All of you, we all had to sit there and watch and witness the 76ers fight and give good effort, Derek. But in the end, they did not have enough to overcome the Indiana Pacers. We'll give our player of the game a little bit later. We did have a WTF moment that was pretty funny early on from one of the Sixers players. We'll talk about that as well. But as far as the game goes, Derek, when we look at this one, gave really good effort. They were into this game. The Pacers, even the Sixers, up by 8-1, forcing Rick Carlisle to call a timeout because his team maybe wasn't taking the 76ers seriously enough in the very beginning. Indiana turns it back up, but the Sixers fight back to cut it to 2 at the half, take a 5-point lead in the third. But in the fourth, not enough, as the Indiana Pacers are just the better team right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought for the most part this was a game where they gave good effort. Mm-hmm. We've got some intriguing performances from young players, especially Adam Bona. They played hard for the entire second half defensively. I thought really competed. They just don't have enough talent right now to pull out these kind of games. They're sitting here shooting 10 for 34 from three-point range. Quite frankly, that's a pretty average shooting night for this team, it feels like. But, you know, Tyrese Maxey gave them a bit of a scoring punch. But outside of that, I mean, you've got Ricky Council with 18 points on 18 shots and, you know, Kelly Oubre, and that's really just about it. They just don't have enough options. When you have an off night from someone like Eric Gordon, you know, one of the ways you're going to steal games is Eric Gordon might just hit 3 or 4 threes. That didn't really happen. Andre Drummond.
I somehow already blacked out all the Eric Gordon shots tonight. Yeah. I just don't even remember him
just the first
making attempts.
Just the first one that he made.
Andre Drummond, I thought, really struggled for the most part. They got killed on the glass.
Derek sounds like he's giving a eulogy right now.
Well, the tank is on, so I mean,
yeah. I was going to pull up Tankathon and give a spin in the middle of the show.
I did that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll tell you guys my Tankathon rule in a moment. I'll be the sunshine to Derek's black cloud over there, quite literally with the black hoodie on. Adem Bona. Nice little game tonight. And it came after a stretch of games where I was basically begging them to send him to the G League and just say, buddy, you need to get minutes against guys that you can beat up on a little bit and polish your game and not frankly be put in a position where you're trying to in some ways help save the season, right? Like that's been the unfair thing for you draft a guy in the 40s. It's like, okay, maybe he plays a couple times this year. Maybe you get him in some garbage time, and it's like the Paul Reed plan, right? Where he would come in and it was never in minutes that mattered for quite a while. And if you allow Bona to have that type of rookie season, like, yeah, I think that's a healthy thing. In recent weeks with Joel out and Andre out, it's like, hey, Adem, not only do you need to play, you need to help us win now or the season is cooked. We are screwed. And that's unfair pressure to put on a guy who's got a lot of work to do. But he finally breaks through a little bit tonight. And while some of that, I think, came down to Indiana played some just bozo basketball in this. When I watched Obi Toppin attacking a Adem Bona dribble move as if he was going after like Kristaps Porzingis on the perimeter, I was like, boy, he might be able to get some work done. But that being said, when Bona is coming out of college, I'm talking to scouts and people I trust who watch more of him than me, and they're like, Kyle, I don't know if this guy can execute a dribble handoff. Like that's how raw people viewed Bona as offensively. So to see him stationed in the corner at times tonight, make some impactful cuts, 2 and 3 dribble moves to get to the rim and dunk,
Come on, man.
Those are,
Live
meanwhile,
show.
the distraction guy over here. Adem having that stuff in the repertoire already, even against a bad defense, I think that was a positive step forward for him. It certainly gave us at least a few entertaining moments of basketball. It looked like a classic Sixers game where he had the great first half. He's the positive story. Oh, no, he's hurt. It was like that sums up the season. But thankfully, he was able to come back in the game. He was able to at least see the game out. Now, that, as we saw with Jared McCain's concussion, he might wake up tomorrow and his arm's going to fall off. But for now, we can say good game for Adem. And these are the little things you're going to have to hold on to during a season like this.
No, he had that one real nice dunk with the play with Obi that you mentioned where it looked like he sort of had a fake dribble handoff.
That's why I had the noise. I apologize. I was making sure Bree had it. My mistake. Bree can run it while Kyle
It would have been funny
down.
if you were just like watching another game in the middle of our show.
Break it down, Derek.
But
yeah, it looks like he overplayed a dribble handoff.
What's happening
I'm
there?
assuming
with
he overplayed a dribble handoff.
Oh, he absolutely did because he didn't think that Adem Bona could actually execute that dribble handoff.
I'll be honest, young fella. I'm not sure I was familiar with your game because I didn't think you could execute that dribble handoff either.
Well,
him putting 3 dribbles like that together and like real hard dribbles and turning a corner, I did not think he was going to be able to pull that off. But my favorite play of the night was the back door with Tyrese, where he found him on the bounce pass.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see him pull those like things that you didn't know he had in his bag, that you didn't know he could execute at this point. You don't necessarily want him doing it all the time, but just every now and then sprinkle that in there on a season that's feeling lost, or at least increasingly lost by the day. Having something to be excited about with the young players, like we talked about a little bit in the pregame show. It was nice to see him show that. And certainly he is not perfect tonight. I continue to think that defensively, or at least on the defensive glass, they need to get more out of him. Positionally, defensively, he's still learning, which you expect for a rookie and a second-round pick. But the effort and, quite frankly, just him executing those 2 plays were surprising, and it was real fun to watch.
He finished with 12 points and 6 boards, and 4 of those rebounds were on the offensive end. But to the point of both Kyle and Derek, and Kyle bringing it up from the very beginning, speaking with Scout, saying, can't really execute a dribble handoff. I mean, at least for tonight, he graduated from that for at least because he had the plays that he had already had, which were one dunk from the left side where he really soared in. He had another offensive rebound, lay in, get to the free throw line. Nice scream there to let everybody know that he was there. So he was in a good place already where all you have to do is get a couple of rebounds, get a block, run the floor, be rewarded by running the floor, finish with the dunk and the putback that he did have. And now you're feeling confident about executing a dribble handoff to the point of, hey, I'm going to execute a guard fake dribble handoff to a guard and get to the basket and finish the way that he did. And it was also funny because Ricky is stumbling and falling and he has to find Adem Bona as the outlet in the corner. But yeah, at least for tonight, we don't know because Kyle is probably right where it's going to be tomorrow and then against the Nuggets on Tuesday and maybe sometime next week where you say, yeah, send him back down. He had a great game on Saturday, but that graduation was just one night. He needs to get back down there and continue to work on his craft, continue to work on the things that will give the coaches some trust in him and have him on the floor for extended time, especially when if Embiid is eventually shut down, he's probably going to get minutes. Andre Drummond is in and out of the lineup. And Yabusele just simply, you're asking a lot. If he is still here, you're asking a lot of him to log those 5-man minutes for the remainder of the season on that body. So Adem Bona is probably going to be called upon quite a bit from Nick Nurse and that coaching staff. So this was good to see something like this, despite the loss. I mean, he was in there. He was doing things. He was doing NBA things, meaningful things that can help you win basketball games. Well, you're not asking for 11. You're simply looking for maybe 4 points, but he's getting you 6-7 rebounds in that limited action that he's out there in a meaningful basketball game to help you pick up a W that you're going to need in some stretch of games, especially when it's 3 and 4 nights or 5 and 7, and you have to call his number.
And I want to see guys who approach the game like Bona get rewarded with results sometimes, right? Because the thing that would suck would be, look, he plays really hard. That doesn't always mean he's playing smart, but he runs the floor. He's trying to do the right things. Sometimes he's going to mess up a switch, or he's going to miss the call, or because he's playing so hard, he'll over pursue and pull himself out of position. But you don't want him to get down on himself, right? And like that's the thing that you want to avoid in seasons like this, where it's everything's going downhill and guys can get dejected. So it's important for a young player like that to just every once in a while, at least, hopefully every night would be the better thing for the Sixers, but every once in a while you need to have one of these feel good, the get right games. Like, okay, I can feel those reps I put in with Rico Hines after practice the other day, or that time I spent with Delaware down in the G League, where I'm getting some reps with other guys at a lower level and I'm feeling good about myself. But it's got to be able to translate to this level. Otherwise, what is it all for? You don't want that to seep in. And so I'm happy for Adem on an individual level that he was able to have this game. You put this one in the bank. And frankly, you can go back over it in the film room and say, one, you look at the good stuff and say, hey, this is what happens when you stick to the game plan, fixate on this, but also what he didn't do well, right? And add on to and say, hey, you got 12 and 6, you had a good game, but how do you compound that the next game? Maybe next game you get 15, maybe next game you get 12, but 10 rebounds. And like, where's your positioning? Where was your discipline on this sort of play? So it's a good game for him to put on tape, and it's motivation for him. Like, all right, the work is getting me to a place where the game's slowing down a little bit. Like one play I really liked from him tonight, offensive rebound in, I believe it was the first quarter, very least first half. Immediately looks out to the perimeter. He's like, all right, do I have a shooter that's open? Nothing's there. He just hits a quick little baby hook, scores. And it's the first instinct to say, I got the offensive rebound. Where are my shooters? That's an important step for a lot of young bigs to take, right? Because those are high percentage shots, and coaches are always, always, always on bigs in that situation, because some guys are leaking out. Some guys are back crashing the glass. So if you get that, you can create some opportunities. I'm glad he's looking for that. And then I'm even more happy he's able to score once he saw nothing was there.
It was something that, as you bring that example up, that we look at Derek Paul Reed in the very beginning and even before he left. A lot of that was he would get the offensive rebound
and go right back up.
Yeah, sometimes
he always thought it was Paul Reed's time to cook.
Yep. Exactly. So sometimes that would get him in trouble. And in this case, you probably saw that too from Bona, maybe in the Summer League as well, and maybe some of the games in Delaware or even up here. But tonight, he pretty much did everything the right way. And Derek, just in the immediate, if his knee is okay and he's fine and he's able to go on the second night of a back-to-back, we don't know how Drummond is going to be tomorrow. If Yabusele does play, he, as Kyle said, put some things on tape where they may not be as concerned in calling his number a little bit earlier in the Milwaukee game to give them some minutes, to give them a little bit of breather for one of the other guys. And they could also, because look, they are playing Giannis, so foul trouble is possible. Of course for Bona, but it's also possible for Drummond or Yabusele should they play, but they might have to lean on him.
No, and look, I think tomorrow's a pretty bad matchup for Andre too. And Andre, I thought really, really struggled here tonight. And look, he's coming back from a long layoff, like you understand all that. But if you're just asking about tomorrow's minutes, I think there's a chance that you could end up playing Bona. In part because of what you said with foul trouble, in part because that's a pretty tough matchup for Yabusele at the 5, and in part because it's frankly a pretty tough matchup for Drummond as well. So I would certainly not be against giving him a run there, like maybe a late first quarter, early second quarter run, see how he responds, and then go from there. Look, this is a season where you're just trying to find anyone who gives you a spark. And his energy, even though the decision-making is, he's still a young rookie, his energy every now and then will give you a spark. Tonight was certainly one of them. And with where they're at, give him a run, see if he gives you something, and if he does, go from there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And speaking about Kyle, just looking back again, the effort part, you went on the positive side with the Bona piece of it, but again, the Sixers did give their effort tonight. Just your overview. Of course, everybody, make sure you sign up, become a diehard member to read allphly.com. Kyle already has up there his takes, the recap from this game, Sixers and the Pacers. Sixers fall once again, 115-102. Make sure you are signed up, become a diehard member, get a free T-shirt, and you get some great stuff from Kyle and Derek and everyone else. Big Eagles stuff upcoming for tomorrow. Flyers also getting a big win earlier this afternoon. But your thoughts in general, the effort that they did put out there. No participation trophies, we know, but they are 10 games under 500. We did put up there, the tank is on, because we really believe it's going to be very, very difficult for them to dig themselves out of where they are right now. But again, shorthanded as they were, the effort was certainly there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys all over the roster. I would say two guys, good example, are Kelly Oubre and Ricky Council, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're guys in very different parts of their careers in so many ways. Kelly is the vet. In many ways, it's someone that Ricky would probably aspire to be, someone who's got a longer leash offensively and can play more minutes and, is making more money, et cetera. But, both those guys are still out there right now trying to make energy plays, effort plays, athleticism plays, like 3 steals for Ricky tonight, 3 offensive rebounds, including one in the fourth quarter in maybe not crunch time, but like midway through the quarter where it looked like the game had completely gotten away from them. And then they end up cutting the game to, what was it, like 6 points, 8 points, something like that in the middle of the fourth where
5 or 6.
Ricky hit a corner 3. And then right after that, or shortly after that, he gets a loose ball, offensive rebound, drives down the lane, gets a quick touch shot in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys who are out there generally have still tried to make the best of this year. And it's one thing that I was not expecting, frankly, if this long losing spell continued or, Joel was hurt, Paul was hurt, whatever, because I was saying in the beginning of the year, one of my biggest concerns with the slow start was, does this team just fall apart mentally and emotionally, right? Like a lot of these guys don't know each other really. It's their first year together as a team assembled almost entirely in free agency. And it can turn into a lot of like, well, I'm going to go get mine, but I don't really care if we blow an assignment or a rotation, I can point a finger. And like, you don't see much of that stuff either, right? Like if a mistake's made,
Mm-hmm.
I think generally you see guys taking accountability so much as you can as you're losing as many games as they are. And they're getting as much as they probably can out of who's there and what they have. As Derek was saying to open the show, there just isn't a lot there. So if you have a bad Eric Gordon shooting night, if Tyrese Maxey, who we're going to get to at some point in the near future, if he has a bad 3-point shooting night, which is more often than not anymore, you just don't really have many paths to win without that. So I can appreciate that the want-to is there defensively. I can appreciate that being 10 games under 500 midway through the year, there is still a level of competitiveness in this team. But competitiveness is not all it takes to get wins in the NBA. And like, they don't have the firepower. They don't have the depth. They don't have the guys. And I don't see how that changes, barring look, we'll get into deadline and moves they can make and the plans that they have. And I know that most of the intel I'm reporting out there is like, well, this is an important stretch so they can see what they have and blah, blah, blah. But like, what moves will they make or could they make right now that materially are going to change things without being an insane risk over the long term, right? Like this is not like a one trade, just like slight tweak to the roster team, right?
No.
This is a team that either you have to get Joel back and he's got to be capital J, capital E, Joel Embiid the rest of the way, no injuries, no layoffs, no missing back-to-backs, or you say we can't expect anything from him and we're turning over the roster, right? Like we're just going to take a huge gamble and try to make 100 moves, and that's not going to happen. So this is who they have, save for probably some minor tweaks and maybe a forward-looking move at the deadline, and you're just going to have to live with the results.
No, unless you can ship a first-round pick for a left knee, this season will not be defined by what happens at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Ricky Council. We'll give our player of the game, and I'll go forward with this one because the Sixers, once again, they did drop their 5th in a row, and even with all of that, they play again tomorrow. So we have a lot of conversation, a lot of content, a lot of game review to have over the course of these 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, as we get ready for another tough stretch for the 76ers leading up to the February 6th NBA trade deadline. This is the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365.
All right, guys. While the Eagles are hunting down a ring, you can too at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Golden Nugget Jewelers is located at Chestnut and 8th in downtown Philly and is a family-owned and operated business since 1987. If you're getting engaged, Golden Nugget Jewelers has a wide assortment of rings and wedding bands to fit anyone's styles. On top of that, you receive a final cleaning and written appraisal with every engagement ring purchase. But Golden Nugget is not just wedding jewelry. You can find watches, diamond necklaces, diamond bracelets, earrings, and more. You deserve an expert and the best price. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Head over to goldennuggetjewelers.com to learn more.
And do you know how you spend the money on the great jewelry? Of course, you have to pay for it. And when you do, I have the great place for you to go to make sure you have the right savings, the right credit cards, if you decide to go that route. And that's what our good friends from TrueMark Financial Credit Union, all the holiday shopping. Maybe it left you with a little credit card balance that's weighing you down a little bit, maybe just a tad bit. Well, TrueMark Financial has you covered. Now, think about this. What if you could pay it off a little bit faster and with zero interest until 2026? Yes, it is true. I'm telling you the truth, folks, because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So all your payments can go towards reducing balance, not just your covering your interest. Here's the play. Overall, you transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer right now. But you got to hurry up because you have to apply by February 28th, 2025. And if you do that now, you get yourself situated, you get everything squared away. February 14th, you know what that day is as well. So you can even go to that spot that Derek is talking about because you did chop down that balance with no zero interest, right? And you can go and get those great gifts for Valentine's Day. Whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. And Kyle, as we look at Ricky Council a little, again, the 18 points on 18 shots, we know what the Ricky Council experience is at this point. But he did do a lot of things. And when we talk about a young player getting some shots up, again, getting some reps, he's thrust into he shouldn't be taking 18 shots. But
I'm not sure he should be taking 8 shots.
Exactly.
That's what we're.
But he did do some things. And as you said, he was the one who knocked down that corner 3 to cut the lead back to 6 or 5, whatever it was in the fourth quarter, giving them a little bit of hope in there that they might be able to steal that road win. What did you see from him? Justin Edwards took a little bit of step back tonight because he got in foul trouble. But Ricky
fouled out in what, 22 minutes?
Yeah.
22-ish
and he had
minutes?
3 in the first half pretty quickly. So he did some good things before that, but he was relegated to the bench. And his competition, as we know, has been Ricky Council. And tonight, Ricky really stepped up for what he could do tonight.
Yeah, I really struggle with Ricky because it's such a roller coaster. It's like one possession, you see, it's like it all comes together, right? He goes up and he skies for offensive rebound, comes down with it with 2 hands, and then he finishes in traffic. He's, takes some contact, finishes through it. And then the next possession, he's taking a fadeaway runner from 12 feet that hits the backboard and barely hits the rim. And it's like, brother, that is not your shot. And it's why you understand why Justin Edwards has been able to, as a young rookie, come in and carve out a bit of a role already, because Nick Nurse sees him go in the game, and it's like, I know what to expect out of that guy. I know what he's going to do, right? He's going to take open threes. Maybe he'll take somebody off the dribble. Like Justin Edwards tonight had a nice move on a dribble handoff into a mid-range pull-up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been seeing more and more of the mid-range game for him. Unfortunately, still a bad night. But with Ricky, you're more likely to get just a crazy play than you are a productive play. And so I have a lot of respect for how hard he plays. I have a lot of respect for being a big and athletic guy and actively wanting to use it, right? Because not everybody does. Some guys they're built and they're tall and they have the wingspan to finish around people, but they're not driving with the intent and the force that Ricky is. And so I really like that about him, that he embraces contact. He wants contact. It's part of why he gets to the line for a player who doesn't normally play that much quite a bit. Like his free throw rate is very high. But end of the day, he is still a guy without a single defining skill offensively. And so you just have to go through these giant ebbs and flows. And I don't know. Maybe he can put it together the rest of this year with more consistent minutes. If they don't treat the season that seriously, and you can just throw him out there for 20 plus games where he's getting consistent tick every night, and you can coach some of this stuff out of him that is problematic for him, you can see a player in there. I just don't know that he's going to have that opportunity, and I don't know that you can trust based on what we see that it's all going to come together at some point.
Yeah, for me, the defining Ricky play or a sequence of this game was when he had that steal on the inbounds pass, took it the length of the floor. I think he even made the layup, but like he must have taken about 40 dribbles between that steal and that layup. And you just knew at no point did he ever even remotely consider passing the ball.
He didn't see them.
He just gets times where like Ricky's taking this shot. And I think he predetermined that one 93 feet from the hoop. And he just has those moments and he can get met by 4 people at the rim. He's not making that kick out pass. And and to your point, when you talk about Nick not trusting him, and like we talked about that a lot and you brought it up a lot in the preseason about defensively and defensive rotations, but it shows up offensively as well. The decision-making is just so inconsistent and so unpredictable that I get why coaches are going to veer away from him. And right now, Nick needs to play him because they only have so many bodies. But it is like you can see the skill set. You can see the physical tools for sure. I mean, they pop very obviously. He just needs to be a reliable decision maker. I think he almost feels like he needs to score and make an imprint on the game to get playing time. And it's probably the exact opposite. Nick Nurse needs to know he can trust him and then he will get playing time, and just doesn't seem to be building towards that.
Or because of his confidence, he just believes that he needs to be the one to take the shots to bring them back when they are down because the opportunity is there presenting itself. It's almost, we always go back to the Seinfeld references where we talk about Jimmy in the third person. Ricky is not like that in person, like when we speak to him.
No, he seems like a good kid.
But when he's on the floor,
and
he has
I will
that
say,
kind of mentality of, Ricky has to score here.
In his defense, if someone just looked at the box score for the 3-point number tonight, for example, they'd say, 3 for 9. He's jacking shots. I don't think I think his 3-point shooting tonight, while he wasn't efficient, I at least think that most of them were like, that's a good shot, right? Yeah. That's in the flow of the offense.
And they
that's
were within 27 feet for the most part.
It was not he's not just, dribbling down the floor and taking crazy threes. It's actually when he gets inside the arc, I think that's where you see the confidence override, right? Where like there are plays where some more discretion would probably help him, but that's where he's most confident, probably rightfully so, because for all of his basketball career, he's made his living being big athletic dude just going through people. And I think the thing that he still has to learn is like, you want to try to play through contact, right? Nobody wants to take away what you're good at and what could separate you if other things come together. It's just, making the little drop-off pass, looking for the kick out if it's there, because he has the tools to get by people and to, create a window. It's what you do with it once it's there that's going to define what his career ends up looking like.
Yeah, because there was a play that Kelly Oubre was coming from Ricky was on the right side. Kelly Oubre was coming from the weak side along the baseline. He beat his man to the spot on the right side of the block. So he could, if the pass had gotten to him as he was just crossing that lane, Kelly Oubre is probably getting a really good duck in, quick turn, left-hand hook, and that's his side. So he's going to turn right into the lane, duck in, quick hook, maybe get an and one, maybe just a simple finish in general, but it was Ricky who had the ball. So Ricky didn't see it quickly enough where he had to then turn away, pass the ball to the left side again on the weak side, where Tyrese Maxey, I believe, is the one who passed it to. They had to figure something out from there. But that's just the development. He's still a second-year player, but the mentality of him always being bigger, more athletic, he can go through people, he can jump over people. His shot did not develop, as we know, for a lot of these young prospects because they were so good at putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim and finishing or getting to the free throw line, that the thing that trailed was the outside shooting. And he's trying to make up for it now at the top level, the top league in basketball, by finding his outside shooting in the NBA against these defenders. And while it has improved since you guys were talking about him as a draft pick in September and as a two-way player in September before the season started, wondering what his career might look like. Well, he has gotten so much better, but again, he's taken 9 threes where oftentimes we're like, Rick, don't shoot that one. But he's improved on it. So we know the work ethic is there. He just still has to catch up overall where the coaching staff will truly believe in him and truly trust him to have him out there on the floor with someone like Tyrese Maxey. When you're trying to come back, quite frankly, and win a basketball game, make the right pace, make the right pass, get that steal, and don't just because you get the steal, somebody else is running with you filling that lane. Just because he's running with you filling that lane doesn't mean that the defender is only defending that guy. He's defending you too. The right play might be to dump it off to him. He rewards you by dumping it back to you for you to get the finish. So the development needs to still be there. And based on the way the season is going right now, there's going to be plenty of time for some player development time on the floor for Ricky Council to get those minutes.
The problem, though, is and I worry about this with Ricky way more than I worry about it with Bona. And it goes back to sort of the G League and you saw it with B-Ball Paul, I think, too, where they play a role in G League that they will never play in real basketball. And I'm a little worried that Ricky is going to play a role here over the next couple of weeks, maybe even the rest of the season, that he'll never actually play when games matter. And I don't know if he has a mentality to dial that back and move back into his natural role. But he will certainly get a chance to play.
Yeah, he absolutely will. All right, let's move on and pivot to another guy he was the game high, and we barely talked about him tonight. The player of the game, Bree, with Tyrese Maxey totaling 28 points, 2 for 7 from beyond. We talk about the outside shooting not being there for Ricky. Tyrese could not find a shot from beyond. 2 for 7 from deep, made all 6 of his free throw attempts, 3 assists on the evening, and we know the assists are hard to come by with the current personnel that he has out there with him. No Paul George, no Joel Embiid, no Caleb Martin cutting to the basket, finishing in that way. And Maxey also was overall 10 for 23 from the field. When you look at Derek, his work tonight, what he did not turn the ball over in 38 minutes and 48 seconds. Led the team in scoring.
Under 40 minutes, by the way.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
And he seemed like he's pacing himself a little bit too tonight, where he wasn't just running up and down the floor looking fatigued at all at any points. Arguing with the refs as well, wasn't doing that much, maybe a couple of times, but a couple of times. It's in his DNA now. But what did you
deep in that double helix?
He had one where I thought Turner completely avoided him, and he got up, and it he was so expecting the contact that he completely blew the layup.
Yeah.
No, I thought for the most part he did a pretty good job of changing speeds. I thought he had some good deceleration moments getting to the rim. I thought he did for the most part a pretty good job inside the arc. You brought up the fact that he was 2 for 7. From beyond, he ended up being, 8 for 16 inside the arc. I thought he had his moments. In terms of passing, when your entire team can't make a shot, the assists just aren't going to be there. But I thought he was good enough individually as a scorer. Like I said, I thought he had his moments inside the arc. It would be nice if he could consistently shoot from the perimeter, but it's so easy to load up on him that I get a lot of these are tougher attempts. He was good. And in a game where nobody else is really good, that's your player of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so that's my thing, right? It's you and I saw basically the exact same game, and the devil on my shoulder is can you just make some damn threes? I get it, right? Because a lot of these are tough, step back. That's asking guys to reliably hit any of those shots, let alone enough to sustain the offense, let alone enough to be efficient as a high volume, high usage guy, is a big ask, right? But it is just so unbelievably frustrating that he just can't seem to hit threes reliably at all this year. And I know he's had pockets of the season, he's had individual games where he shoots well, but it is just I've watched this guy for years, right? This is
an incredible shooter.
Year 5, and he's a very, very good, at times elite of the elite type of shooter. And I know that so much of this is the fact that he is the only ball handler a lot of the time, right? Any guy who's the only ball handler, there's a reason, look, James Harden at his peak, incredible solo offensive player, lead guard, all that. There's a reason that he won and went as far as he could go with Chris Paul next to him, right? Because that took so much burden off of Harden's shoulders where they could run half-court actions where it's like, hey, James, you don't have to do everything. Sometimes you can frankly just like stand off in the corner and do nothing. And that became a friction point between those two. But that's what's missing for Tyrese. It's not a Hall of Fame point guard necessarily. It's another guy who can come in there and is offering a little bit of creation ability without also being a liability in some other ways, right? Like Jeff Doughton, who played okay in this game, you're not that guy. Reggie Jackson, you're not that guy. Kyle Lowry, you're too old to be that guy, right? So I understand that the percentages will not be good for Tyrese, and I don't blame him for having a disappointing season in that way. But there is just part of my brain where I'm like, please, for the love of God, can you just hit some threes? Yeah. Hit some threes, buddy. Help yourself, because nobody else is going to. But yes, everything else, particularly Derek, the deceleration, the mixing of speeds, and the one drive of his I really liked tonight was when he went right at Obi Toppin, drove his shoulder into him, got the contact, draws the foul, scores, and won. Like, that was my favorite play of the night. And that's a great example of something he's gotten away from this year when he takes those just like, oh, I'm falling out of bounds. There goes the floater off the glass that hits nothing, and then I'm flat on my back. There were less of those tonight, more strong moves, getting all the way to the rim. So liked all of that. I just wish he could summon that three-point shot at some point this year.
I do think, we talk a lot about Maxey and needing a ball handler because he's not a true point guard and he has deficiencies with his vision and his creation, which are all true. But I also think they need to pair him next to a point guard, because I think Maxey just plays like he needs to play a combo on-off ball for himself as well. Yeah. He's, I think it's easy to forget this year because he barely gets a corner three-point shot. He was one of the league's elite corner three-point shooters. And you saw that a lot with Embiid, garnering a lot of attention and attention at the nail and being able to kick out to him. You saw that a lot with Harden, both pushing in transition and also just dominating the ball in the half court, and Tyrese being able to run off ball. He has not been able to do that very much at all this year. And I think he would be playing a lot better if he, first of all, had the big fella. I do think those two, their skill sets fit so well. And I think, when you talk about him taking dribble jumpers and step back jumpers and like having that gravity for Embiid makes that, even though it's still a difficult shot and it's a deep shot and it's a shot off movement, it's still an easier shot than the ones he's getting now. But also it would just be great to get him an easy catch and shoot three every now and then. He barely gets them.
Not a lot of those these days. No. And he's getting the amount that you guys want up there, the shots, but it's the type of shot that he's taking because of he's the one creating generally his own shot.
He's taking a career high in three-point attempts, and they're harder than they've ever been in his career.
Who would you want right next to him right now? Point guard. Forget about another guard like Anthony Edwards. We talk about him fitting next to him. Point guard. Who would you have next to him?
Oh, we're talking league-wide? Not Jeff Doughton?
Not Jeff Doughton. Scratch him off the list.
That's a good question, because there's so many.
I'll give you the one that I know we've talked about this before. So I didn't expect this guy to be what he is right now. I mean, he's the number one pick, so he was always my example. Kay Cunningham next to him.
Well, no, because the size.
Because we've seen it also with Jay Nivey next to him.
I'll give you another name, and I'm in the bag for him and this team, so you guys will not be surprised with this. Amen Thompson would be the type of guy I would love to see. Now, ideally, you'd want a guy who's a better shooter, right? But I think Amen is an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
Ultra versatile defense. He fits more in that like Drew Holiday type of style, but less of the shooting and more of the playmaking. Like, I think Amen for where he's at, is a very, very good playmaker. Like, that type of player next to him, I think, is an excellent fit.
And with Fred VanVleet banged up, Ime Udoka, when he was asked who's going to handle the point guard responsibilities, he said, well, and then Thompson is going to be the one.
He's going to be really, really good. Yeah, he already is really good.
Yeah, he is. He is. I'm happy for both of the twins. We've talked about them last year anyway. What was it? Asor being injured and dealing with that scare,
like a blood clot or something like that.
Scare, and him bouncing back and being an integral part of what Detroit is doing right now. So both of those guys for sure are really, really good. Fox says X-Man. He also agrees with Cade. Sandman also agrees with Cade Cunningham as well. So we're all on the same wavelength. And Amen Thompson is a great candidate.
Cade could
right
play
there
on any team the way he's playing this year.
He's playing
But
much,
when we were
much
talking
better.
about it, it was just because they're bad. Are they going to start trading off, even though you got to sign guys or start trading off because they're so bad? But he's going to be an all-star this year. All right, when we come back, we get to our WTF moment. Get ready to wrap up the show on this Saturday night. Sixers fall 115-102. Losers of their fifth straight now. They're 10 games under 500 at 15-25. We'll get to our WTF moment on the other side right here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365.
Well, everybody, the Sixers' future might not be very bright, but yours still can be. And you have to prepare with our friends from Shady Rays, who have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And they probably have a style in your favorite team's colors. Go Birds. I wear Shady Rays all over the place, right? In fact, I will probably wear them tomorrow during the day. I know it's going to be snowing, but you never know. I always bring it up during the wintertime. When that sun hits the snow,
reflects off the snow.
It is
Absolutely.
a bad reflection.
Yes.
It's hurting your eyes. And those polarized sunglasses make a massive, massive difference. Whether you're driving, whether you're tailgating, no matter where you are, Shady Rays has your back. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, you don't need to sweat it because Shady Rays has the most insane protection in all of eyewear, every pair backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your Shady Rays, but I bet you will, you can always exchange them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days. No risk shopping with our friends. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Our presenting sponsor for our pregame show and our postgame show and our show every day, Bet365. They are the best. You need to go out there, download the app, use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Over 90 million users worldwide. Payout offers across the NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB. And earlier today, we went with the 8.5 over on assists for Tyrese Halliburton. Just got it. Got the 9 tonight, so we got there. John Peace made it very clear to let us know that they won. Very happy for you, John Peace. And if you paid attention to the Saturday offer, Slam Dunk Saturday at Bet365. It's never ordinary as we talk about the Bet365 Slam Dunk offer for Saturdays, placing qualifying parlaying bets totaling $20 or more on Saturday NBA games and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. So if you were able to do that today, you would have hit, again, on this Saturday for the NBA Slam Dunk Saturday offer from Bet365. And Sunday, you got a big game there as well. A lot of great options there. So make sure you log in, download Bet365. And we do have some breaking news when it comes to Bet365. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5. Sign up now. Use the code PHLY365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. Bonus bets can be used on the spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Go get that money. Big game tomorrow, so you can play some wagers there on Bet365. Bet responsibly, of course. All right, let's get to our WTF moment of the night because this was a funny one. Funny one. Let's go right to it. We don't have the video, so don't worry about it. We like to explain these things.
I wish there was video. This could make Shaqtin' a fool this week, honestly.
All right, so what happened was Andre Drummond.
What had happened was
Andre Drummond, deep post position, and producer extraordinaire Bree has the video maybe here, where deep post position from Andre Drummond. He gets the entry pass. Look at him.
Here it comes. Baby hook.
Watch the drop step.
Post move.
Bang. Bang.
Ball.
Never mind.
Kobe.
Great play, Bree. Great identifying that one.
Great work by Bree.
He did
He
the
had
right
a great
move.
look. He created space with his off arm. Like he had plenty of
The
space.
drop step was
God.
there.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen him make some lefty jump hooks.
We saw him airball
Great
too
quick
today.
half spin,
Yes.
everything. Just dunk it.
That's
You got the
right.
space. You're 7 feet tall.
He was like, "Oh, I'm here already."
He was too open. I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna give Andre that out. He was too open. He's coming off of a 6-game layoff, whatever it was. He
Bree, can we see?
he was caught off. He was caught off guard
Bree,
by
can we
how
see it
open
again?
he was.
Can we see that again?
Bootzilla said Drummond had his shady rays on. He forgot to take them off. The shady rays you can still see. They're polarized, Bootzilla.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
He says it in every ad read.
Oh, my
the Reggie
goodness.
Jackson shady
Here we
rays.
go. All right, maybe
Look
this
at
time we'll make it.
Look at
Ready?
it. Maybe he will.
Oh.
Never mind. That was our WTF moment of the night. Thank you, Bree. It is Derek, presented by
No
one.
I really thought because Kyle's like, I had to step away for a moment at the start of the third quarter. Kyle's like, you got to watch this transition opportunity. I was really expecting a Shaq.
It was Derek stepped out, and I sent him an immediate text. I knew he was going to be back in like 2 minutes, and I was like, no. He needs to know about this now.
We thought we almost had another one when he got that steal,
Yeah.
and he went about 3/4 court, and he was taking his time as if he had some Andre Drummond 20-year-old speed. And out of nowhere, I think it was Ben Mathurin almost blocked it, smacked him in the face. He did not get the and one. He should have gotten the and one because he did make the dunk.
Isn't Mathurin the one that broke Embiid's face?
Yes, it is.
Guy likes to hit people in the face, apparently.
And so give him credit for that one, but that was our WTF moment of the night, presented by no one. All right. That was somebody just said in the chat that who was it that I think Devon and Kyle and Derek kind of want the team to lose so they can have these. Neil, I want to know if Derek, Kyle, and Devon low-key want the Sixers to lose every game.
No, because that would be miserable to watch.
We want to be talking about this.
We're going to be
into
doing
May,
these shows
into
no matter
June.
what. Now, if we separate what we're watching and talking about from what's in the best interest, more than likely, of the team, yeah, the Sixers losing every game would probably create a better scenario for everybody, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sit up here and be like, boy, I sure am excited that they lost that game.
No.
I'm not wearing my sweatshirt with a screen print of a tank on it. I'm not like the tankathon thing. I forgot you said you did a spin the other day.
Yeah, I did a spin, and they ended up with the fourth overall pick.
While you guys were doing your ad reads, I got the number 1 pick.
Oh.
Yeah. It took me 16
What'd you
tries,
Here
but I got
is
it.
my rule with tankathon. I do one spin.
Yeah, I just did
Day
16
of the
in
lottery.
the course of this.
That's it. I'll look at it just to see, because it's an easy place to see where people are at and who's picked based on the current order would go to who and whatnot. But I don't ever, no spins, no mocks, no sims, just.
All right, so that's my
16.
Day of the lottery.
That's
I do
my
it one
only
time.
spin
The morning
of the year
lottery.
now because it was 2025, so I'll wait.
No, I just did 16.
All right,
and
Cooper flag for you. You're not doing yours until then, but you do have to make the selection that I had with the number 4 overall pick. Early selection right now. Who are you taking 4th overall?
It really depends on
Cooper flag
who's
first. Dylan Harper goes second. It's going to be Ace
Are you
or
going to
your
assume
guy,
Ace at 3?
or your guy Ace at or your guy from Illinois maybe. VJ.
So I want to make sure I
Edgecombe.
know how to pronounce his name, but Yakachonis from
Yakachonis,
Illinois, I believe
taking
is his name.
Yakachonis at 4.
I think that might be right now.
And
But I still have not watched a lot of Baylor. So Edgecombe, I don't have a great feel for. I've seen a decent amount of Illinois recently, so that's probably swayed me more than it should. But listen.
Boots says
We're
he
a
wants him.
long way
Boots.
away.
You and Boots on the same wavelength right there.
There we go,
Pick
Boots.
number 4. Wawa says, "Nah, Ace Bailey. Got to take Ace Bailey."
I honestly, feel like I've been a public hater of Ace Bailey, but I'm not with these people who are like, I wouldn't take him until like 13 or whatever
still
instead
take
of 3.
Yeah.
He's a top 5 guy. It's just a matter of how much confidence do I have.
I
in
just
him
think for me,
versus-
he's borderline top 5. Like if he's top 5, he's at the back end of that range for me. But
So you wouldn't take him at 4?
probably not.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd have to watch more though. Like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of red flags
Road trip.
for me.
Road trip.
No.
We keep saying it. We gotta actually
go. We gotta
actually
Game
follow
time.
through on
Absolutely.
it at some
Game
point.
time. All right, folks, that'll do it for us tonight. With our super chat on the way out, James Alexander says, we don't have no identity. Well, the identity is they're not good. Right there.
Yeah, the identity is they stink.
That's the identity.
That's the current identity.
Unfortunately, James, you are right. They don't have a true basketball on the floor identity to help them get wins. The identity is that they are losing a lot of games, and they're probably going to do so until Joel Embiid is healthy and coming back, and Paul George is on the floor with Tyrese Maxey and the rest of the group. Our show tonight was presented by, as always, Bet365. Make sure you download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. It's time for the world famous roll call.
I almost burped into the microphone to start a roll call.
Live. Let it happen. Just
I was letting the evil out, and I will say, I joked to you guys before the show, we're going to talk about Twin Peaks for a half hour. Got to give a shout out and also a rest in peace
Yes, we will.
to the god, the legend, David Lynch, who passed away this week. Everybody go home tonight after this show is over and watch the 2-hour pilot episode of Twin Peaks, which is one of the most ridiculous things that's ever happened. Shout out to David Lynch, previous Philadelphia resident, who said, I never had what I consider an original idea until I was in Philadelphia. We are the real capital of the United States, and don't anybody forget that.
That's right.
No matter what.
That's
Thank
right.
you to everybody who's here and hanging out.
Boots says Mulholland drives. Look at that.
Little blue velvet action. Come on, baby. Thank you, everyone, for checking in and hanging out. Mom's grandchildren says, go Birds.
She knows.
That's right, Mom. Let's go.
Had to give her the white towel that they gave out last
Oh,
week.
yeah. Little souvenir action.
She has the towel and the program.
Shout out to Aaron, to Igavini,
What up, Aaron?
to Jeannie,
Hey, Jeannie.
to Valhost, to my girl Winona,
Nona and Val. What up, ladies?
to Jess with the Purple Heart,
What up, lady?
to Joaquin from Cherry Hill, to K Red, to Neil Deaver, to Kyle Wright.
What up, Neil?
Who else we got in here? Bootzilla.
Boots.
MFHC.
We're going to need the boots tomorrow.
MFHC, who said, damn, they got y'all in studio for this word I won't repeat, thanks to our broadcast partners.
Boots, get the Timbs out for tomorrow. 3 to 5 inches of snow.
We
At
got
least that's what they
X-Men.
said.
We got Wawa
What up, X?
Marvel. We got Darkness.
Turn the lights down.
I finally had a voice to do that for the first time in a while. Philip fans hanging out. You better love somebody hanging out.
Love somebody.
Whew. We got, who else we got in here? Sid hanging out with us tonight. Thank you to R. Jonesy, who loves Amen Thompson just like I do. Thank you to R. Jonesy for the solidarity on that one. Thank you to DJ, a.k.a. Mr. Sandman.
Bring me a dream.
Thanks to everybody who hangs out with us, not just tonight, but also the rest of the year, hopefully. Even if it's going off the rails, we'll find plenty of fun things to talking about.
Plenty.
I will not be in tomorrow with these fellas because I'm going to support Philadelphia's #1 professional team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Go
Are they
Birds.
ready for the bright lights?
Make sure you tune
Yes,
into
they are.
PHLY Eagles pregame, postgame, and
Halftime
all the
show.
good stuff tomorrow.
Right.
Halftime show. Everything we got going on tomorrow, but also hit the subscribe button so you can be hip to whatever's going on with the channel. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. And if you hit the thumbs up button, it'll help us in the algorithm.
Eagles
And
win tomorrow?
it will
yeah.
also help out and say thank you to super producer Bree, always holding it down.
Producer
Pulling up
extraordinaire.
unexpected videos. We've had new music lately. Everything's happening all at once. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to you guys. See you tomorrow.
Drop step.
And
Left
go
hook.
Birds.
Left hook.
We all silly like the mayor.